Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's episode of Reset the Track. I'm your host, The Butler, serving you a gaming experience, and we are here on F1 2020, continuing our My Team career mode. Now first off, we're going to do some admin work, look at our activity timeline, we're going to choose our sponsor event promotion, so it increase our team's reputation but cost a little bit of money, and we're going to go over to the R&D department and choose exactly what to focus on. Now we could focus on improving our straight line speed a little bit more with the downforce reduction. However, we are going to go for the tertiary wing flaps to increase the front downforce, which should allow us to compete at some of the more bendy tracks, we'll say, later on in the season. At the start, we have a fair few power tracks to deal with. And with all that done, we're going straight into practice 1 here at Bahrain, one of the power-oriented tracks recently favored by Ferrari, but likely this year it's going to be a Mercedes track. We'll be honest. So we're going to get our set up and right away go into our track acclimatization program. And on our first run through of that, you can see here, we ran into our usual Spinala problems. And a damaged front wing sees us coming back into the pits with a bit of an accelerated timeline, as you'll see right here. So, yeah, it's one of the problems we have with the car. It, just lacks raw downforce in the rear, and that tends to put the car into a situation where it can spin relatively easily through seemingly no rhyme or reason whatsoever. But we are going to go out again and do our track acclimatization program properly. As you will see here, we go out and we'll take you through a lap of the Bahrain International Circuit. This is of course being different from the endurance circuit, having a much shorter Sector 1. And as we cross the start-finish line now, getting ready for Turn 1, you want to try and brush the apex here, use a little bit of the curb on the outside. Don't brake too late, don't brake too early, you want to get that just right. That was about right there. Going to try and take a little bit of the curb on the inside, not too much to invalidate the lap time, and as we get through Turn 3, DRS zone open, coming through under the Pirelli bridge. Looking for your braking mark here. Nice over curb. Now realistically you want to take as much curb as you can here. That's about right. Just brush that gate there and over the curb on the right on both the insides of the S's. A little bit on the outside there. We come through here through Turn 8. Keep it nice and close to the apex, trying to get a good run. We unfortunately get a little bit of a slip that's not going to impact us too much here. It's just the track acclimatization program. Through Turn 9 and 10, trying not to lock up the fronts and getting a nice traction here. DRS open as we head down the back straight into Turn 11. This, of course, being the home straight for the Formula 3 circuit, I believe. As we come through Turn 11, taking a bit of curb there, trying to run it to the outside curb. We're going to swing past the white line, take a little bit outside the track, come back to the inside through the apex of Turn 12. Turn 13, take a little bit of the inside curb, run it back out to the outside, and we come down now to the final corner in just a moment. Of course, for some reason in this game it's broken out to 2 corners, so we have technically the penultimate corner here, Turn 14, as we come through. Turn 15, just this little exit here. We do run a little bit wide, which validates the lap. However, the practice program does not worry about that, and therefore we do actually get the lap that we want done. Now we are going to try and go for a push lap early in the session just to try and balance ourselves against the AI. Of course, we want to be a little bit ahead of Nick DeVries, mainly because he's still a rookie, only 67 overall, and it's not really representative of where the car should be. Maybe about 3 tenths or so clear is where we want to be on our push laps. So again, we come through Turn 2 and 3, DRS open. Turn 4, we're going to head into the S's here. Good lap so far. We're on rich and hot lap. This is pretty much representative of what the car can do on the hards in qualifying. As we come through now, the exit of Turn 6, Turn 7, we're going to go a little bit deep and just on the curb there, it's going to upset the car and send us into a spin into the wall. We'll get another look at that real quick from a different angle. You can see here, as we come through, we're just going to miss the apex a little bit on the corner, come deep, and as we come out, it's just going to upset the car a little bit and send us into a spin. And with that being done, the practice programs, we pretty much hit all of them, except for I think the qualifying one we missed out by about a tenth, which could impact our R&D later, but we're going to go straight now to the qualifying event. As you can see there, us in the car. As we get ready for our best lap of Q1. We currently haven't set a lap yet. We have 50 seconds left in the session, so what you see is what we get. And we're aiming to try and get out of Q1, but Of course, having a Renault engine, it's good enough to get the job done, but not much past that, so we'll have to put a pretty good lap in order to get out of Q1. Right off the bat, maybe a little bit deep into turn 1, we'll compromise our run out of here, having to worry a bit more about stability rather than just maximizing pace. DRS open as we come out now into turn 4. We run a little bit shallow in turn 4. We don't get all the way over the curb, and that compromises our run out of the corner with a little bit of wheel spin. We take the curbs pretty nicely here. A little bit on the inside of Apex is almost unsettling the car again in the same way we did in qualifying, rather the practice program that we did for the track acclimatization. As we come now through turns 9 and 10. A good run so far. It's not been an extraordinary lap, but it's not been a dismal either, so we are going to have a chance here at Q2. Of course, in the goal for our car this weekend. Our goal overall is to perform. Now, of course, last week we did sign a new sponsor with Atlantic. They request us as a team to achieve 75 laps in a race weekend, so I believe we already about hit that in the practice sessions themselves, but we can also hit that in the race with a 57 lap long race. Now, as we come through the final corner now, we're looking for an alright time here. It's not going to be anything special. We managed P18 there. And unfortunately no Q2 for us. But on to the race.
Stage is set for another enthralling race here in the Kingdom of Bahrain. A Ferrari stronghold in years gone by, but will they be able to add to their record today? We'll be racing around 3.36 miles of the magnificent Bahrain International Circuit today. Keep an eye out for drivers locking the front left down into the tricky braking zone of turn 10. Joining me for today's race once again is Anthony Davidson. So, let's briefly discuss Lewis Hamilton. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out would have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Verstappen, Alexander Albon, and Ricciardo, Sainz, Norris, Perez, and Lance Stroll, Ocon, Leclerc, Kimi Raikkonen, and Kvyat, Gasly, Giovinazzi, Kevin Magnussen, and Falcon, Grosjean, Russell, De Vries, and Nicholas Latifi. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Alright, so as you can see there, we started P18, some good laps all around, but we're going to be going for a 2-stop strategy today on the 2 stops for the softs and 1 for the mediums. It should see us with the pretty optimum strategy overall. It should work out pretty well as we get ready for race start. So mode 3 on the engine, getting ready for hot lap, 5 lights, and away we go. It's a good start from us. We're looking for a good move here. We managed to get past the Haas right off the bat, and we're looking towards the outside to try and get a lunge on some of the cars there. Past Giovinazzi, and we're potentially pulling up alongside Gasly, as you see there. We make it 3 wide around the outside, manage to hold it through the gap here. A little bit of a track warning there for extending track limits. And Gasly does get back ahead. We're going to look for a lunge once again up the inside now. Gasly not going into the back of Kvyat, very important there. And we still are 2 wide now of Gasly as we head down into the S's. We're going to try and maximize our run through here. Give him a little bit of squeeze on the exit of the first part of the S's, and that is us past now. Looking for, again, a move on Kvyat, getting a lot of positions done nice and early. We don't see that one materialize as we end up behind Kvyat right now. But we still have opportunities here. As we go through turns 9 and 10, we begin searching for opportunities here to take Kvyat. Overtake still on in the slipstream. What can we get? A lunge up the inside, very nice there through the corner, and that sees us up into P14 off of the start. A good improvement, 4 places off on the opening lap. As we continue through the opening lap, you can see here, Kvyat is still right on that tail, but we're going to aim on closing up on the Raikkonen a little bit now. I think the car has enough pace to take on the Alfa Romeos this weekend. We're already ahead of Giovinazzi. It's going to be up to us to try and take on Raikkonen and the cars ahead of us. As we finish up our first lap now, that is the conclusion of the onboard of the opening lap. And we now blink forward in time to lap 4. We are on the back end of Raikkonen as we come through the final sector. Penultimate corner. We are but 3/10 behind Raikkonen right now. This could prove to be a good opportunity here for a pass. We've been stuck behind him for a lap or 2 now already. As we come through here, good run there from us, but a good run also from the former world champion. DRS open, rich engine mode, mode 3 on the ERS. We're not close, but we're going to try and lunge at the inside anyway, just position the car there to compromise his run for the corner, and that's going to see him still dive around the outside. We look for a switchback here, trying to maximize our run. Once again, that Ferrari engine, unlike in real life, pulling its own weight here as we look for a lunge towards the outside. Late braking there, sees us control that outside line, take it out nice and deep as we would normally. We're still too wide, and we're just going to pinch him off a little bit towards the apex, and that's going to see him back out and give us the position there. We're now up at the P13 with Sergio Perez up ahead. A little bit further ahead, we have the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, Esteban Ocon in the Renault, and Lance Stroll battling. This is just ahead of us, so this is slowing down the pack a little bit and giving us a chance to try and continue taking some of those early opportunities for moves. Charles Leclerc pulls out once again on Lance Stroll, and he gets the move there. So Lance Stroll losing 2 positions there in 1 corner. Not ideal for him, but we are on the back end now of Sergio Perez, his teammate. The Racing Points not having the pace that they do in real life in this game, or at least in this build when we started our career mode. And so we are right on their bumper once again with Sergio Perez. We are looking for a move. We have DRS, we have overtake, we have mode 3 on the engine. He does not have DRS, so this gives us an opportunity here. It's going to be a pretty straightforward pass around the outside there, and we have it done already before the braking zone. Not really any competition there from Perez. So now we're trying to close up the gap to Stroll, Ocon, and Norris, I believe. As you can see, Ocon once again making a move there on Lando Norris. A very good move there by the Renault driver. Managing that past, but that is still closing that gap there for us. Our aim now to get within 1 second for the DRS on the following lap. We are on lap 13. This is the final, or the second to last lap, rather, that we will be on this soft compound, and then we will move to our second set of softs. We are within 1 second now of Lance Stroll, so that gives us DRS opportunities, although that dirty air might start playing and wreaking a little bit of havoc with our aero package. We know it's not been the most stable at times, so we need to be very careful of that. As we come now through turn 10, DRS will open in 3, 2, 1, and we look to close the gap. We hold on to mode 2-1 on the engine, and it will keep us within about a second. The cars ahead are still neck and neck, so we don't need to worry about them too much pulling away, as they will be battling. As we come now through this corner here, a little bit of adjustment there midway through, and just the rear end of the car just dissipates and disappears from us. Let's get another angle on that. You can see I am visibly frustrated by that one. Yeah, we didn't really make any wrong moves there. It's the same we've taken it every time. The curb we did not touch, and the car just decided to go for it anyway. Do a couple of pirouettes, look like a ballerina. We come through with one more angle. Yep, the rear just losing it through there towards the end of the tires' lives. And that's going to, of course, send our tires past boiling point. We're looking at about 105, 106 on the temperatures on the tires right now, and that is way outside of the operating range. So we are going to make a quick decision here and pit this lap to try and minimize the time loss while we try and cool down these tires and minimize the risk of another spin in this race. So we're going to come in. We are right ahead of the freeze, so we got to hope that they don't pit them, as that would be a detrimental double stack for the team. And you can see just behind us, they have, of course, pitted Nick DeFries. So that is going to be detrimental to our teammate there, but we didn't really have a choice there. That has come down to the management of the AI. So a decent stop there, 2.6 seconds, quicker than our first race. I believe that was 3 seconds, and we're looking alright so far. So we open up the pit limiter now. We have one more stop for the mediums later on in the race. But now our goal is to just try and close that gap to Perez. As throughout this stint now, we see Alex Albon has come in through that pit window, and Charles Leclerc is just going to appear around the outside as he gets the undercut on Albon done. Albon does fight it out a little bit, manages to get back in front, but what you will not see is that later on in the stint, they will once again switch positions as they try and get past the Hasses, who have not yet made their pit stop, and will be at Trino. As you can see here now, Charles Leclerc is right on the tail of Romain Grosjean, looking to get past. He goes for a move around the outside of turn 9 and 10. He's going to run deep, locking the brakes, going on the curbs. He's going to run wide of the track, comes back on, and damages the front wing of Alex Albon. So that's going to be, once again, detrimental to Alex Albon's race, and he is in fact going to pit and end up behind us. That's another position we made, not to our own making. This is our in-lap here. We are looking at our tires, seeing that we are losing a lot of pace. Nothing really has happened. We've maintained the nice little gap that we've had to Kimi Raikkonen. We've held Perez to about 2 to 3 seconds, which is pretty good considering we're on a pair of dead softs at this point. We're supposed to pit in 2 more laps, but we are going to pit now so that we can, 1, try and effect an undercut, and 2, avoid the risk of another spin like we had in the first stint, as the car has proven that it does not like the way that it handles towards this stage of the tire life. So we are going to switch down the mode 1 on the engine once we go into the pit stop here. As we come through now, we've told Jeff we want to pit this lap. We come in towards the box, hard on the brakes, a little bit of a lock-up pass, but as long as we're under the pit limiter, that's all that matters there. As you can see us coming through the pits now, getting passed by a couple of our contemporaries. Our biggest problem here with pitting a little bit earlier is that we might come out to traffic, but we're going to try and avoid that problem here. As you can see, that the mechanics are doing a pretty good job to switch to the mediums in a timely fashion. That's going to prove crucial in this race at later stages as we come out of the pits now, and we are on these tires for the end of the race. 26 laps to go then. This is a full on board of our lap 35, I believe it is, or lap 34, it's one of those two, where we are aware that Perez will soon be coming in for a stop, and we are really pushing the car at this stage to try and affect that undercut that we mentioned before. 3 seconds was the delta to the Pink Panther up ahead, so we are trying to make that happen for the Purple People Eater, the Game 1 Oz Lightspeed F1 car. So far so good this lap then. We've not made any mistakes. We have pretty much done a pretty good job there. We have a small lockup, but nothing really to worry about too much. The tires are still new. Won't really affect the life of it too much. Come through turn 9 and 10. Overall a good run. A little bit of a loss of rear end traction there, but we managed to keep it under control. DRS not enabled as we're not within a car length, rather a second of a car up ahead. As we come through the point where we spent earlier in the race, no such problems this time. So we have a gap of 6.9 seconds of car ahead right now. That is not a car that we need to worry about just yet. We have passed them. I believe it was one of the Williams. We'll see in just a minute. Once we switch back to our normal onboards. To come on the home straight now, Sergio Perez is in the pits, and we are waiting to see whether or not we got him, and we did. Yes, there he is. Sergio Perez, we got the undercut on him there. Very effective, very good. So we are now going to try and maintain that position on Sergio Perez. However, one lap later, Sergio Perez is coming back. He is on the newer tires. He is in the quicker car. That car really should be well ahead of where it is on track right now. And we are continuing to battle. However, we are starting to run a bit low on fuel. We're a bit out of energy after that push lap. So Sergio Perez is going to look for a move to the inside. We're going to open up the corner, try and look for the cutback. But Perez positions his car perfectly to, one, avoid us from going around the outside, and two, avoid us from getting the cutback there. And you can see just behind us, Alex Albon filling in that gap after his earlier contact with Charles Leclerc. So up now on lap 39, we see Alex Albon right behind. He's going to be looking for a similar move to Sergio Perez. But we know what to expect roundabout from the AI at this point. So we are using overtake and mode 2 on the engine. We have to try and make up a bit of a deficit on the fuel. So we are playing careful. We are going to open up the corner a lot, go for a lunge around the outside, try and hold too wide. We're going to hold that inside line, run him a little bit deep, still give him the track whip he needs, but we're going to fall just behind, get DRS, and that's going to leave us in that position for another lap. We are going to switch down to mode 1 on the engine in just a minute to try and regain some of that fuel mode that we are missing at this point in the race. However, with Alex Albon behind through the curves, it's not too much of an issue for us just right now. As you can see, we switch back to mode 2 on the engine on the straights. He does close up, but not enough. That Honda engine is the weakest in any car on the grid right now. We've come through the penultimate corner once again. We're going to have another run-in with Alex Albon. It looks like, in just a second. I don't know why that name is giving me some trouble today. You can see there our purple Game on Oz Lightspeed F1 car. DRS open then for Alex Albon, looking to close that gap a little bit. Once again, he looks to the inside. We're going to close the door a little bit and then open it back up. Lunge around the outside. This time he's a little bit further ahead. Positions his car a little bit better. He's able to cut us off a little bit more, control the line. And we are still in the fight for this one. We have DRS just behind Alex Albon. We might look to a move to the inside here as we switch to the inside. And he manages to cover off that line pretty well there. Not really any opportunity there. That sees us slip further outside the points. And now only 6 laps left. We skip forward to Kimi Räikkönen just behind. The car, we have done a good drive pulling it forward. However, we are starting to show some signs of a lack of pace at this part in the race. Kimi Räikkönen then pulling up. He's going to look for a move around the outside. We hold the inside line. Down in the second gear, a little bit of the curb there. We're going to try and squeeze him around the apex there. Control the line. We do that. And that's going to see him put behind us there for a little while yet. Now, we have to start being aware here as the Mercedes are only about half the straight behind us. So we do need to be aware of the blue flags that will be appearing in a moment's time. As we appear once again on the back straight here, Kimi Räikkönen will be looking for a move. We move to control the inside line. He switches to the outside. We go for a late break, and we control the apex, block off a switchback, and leave us in a position to control the pace for another lap. Fast forwarding a lap forward now, we have blue flags with Valtteri Bottas and Lewis Hamilton just behind. We let Bottas by, but we still have Hamilton, and we don't want to risk a penalty for blue flags. So we let off the throttle. This gives Kimi Räikkönen a chance to try and make a move around the outside. He switches to the outside there, as you can see that we managed to hold once again the apex. However, Daniel Kvyat is now pulled up once again behind us, and it's a battle now for 12th between myself, the Flying Finn, and the Russian. So come now through the penultimate corner, switching forward now to about half a lap back through turns 9 and 10. We are still ahead of Räikkönen then. We are fighting over our dear lives. 3 laps to go, lap 54 or 57. Räikkönen makes a move around the outside. We are going to switch to the outside a little bit aggressively there and hold on to it one more time. Only 2 laps to go as we are a lap down. So we do have a decent surplus of fuel then to utilize in the defense of this position. We come through the final corner now. We look for a good run there. We have one, but so does Räikkönen, as we see blue flags starting to approach for Sebastian Vettel behind. Räikkönen with a flying run there down the outside. We're going to try and make something work around the outside. A big lunge there. Holding it. not quite yet giving up, but Raikkonen, just like Albon a few laps earlier, manages to hold through that inside line, switch it back to the outside inside, and manage to control the race. We look for a lunge. We almost get something working, but Raikkonen just a little bit too far ahead, our car a little bit too underperforming at this point, and we are losing tire traction once again, as you saw from that slip there. We do have to let Sebastian Vettel by, so we are going to hold the inside line, brake early, and let the German full-time world champion past. We now have to hope that Raikkonen will lose a lot of time doing something similar, and so we are pushing to try and stay behind Vettel, get DRS here at least. As Raikkonen repairs, he moves to the inside of the corner, brakes quite early, lets his former Ferrari teammate by, and unfortunately we don't lose enough time. We are still behind him, we are still in the fight, but we are starting our final lap of the race. As we are a lap down, lap 56 will be our final lap. We are pushing, we are trying to keep up Raikkonen. To be honest, I think we would have had him that time if he did not have the DRS from Vettel up ahead. However, you can say what you can say. At the end of the day, we do what we do. To come through now, turn 4. Looking all right behind Raikkonen, holding the gap, holding Kvyat to a gap behind. We're in a bit of a holding pattern right now as we come through turn 8. We are holding pace with the Finn. However, we need to be closing them up to try and make that place back for P12. Of course, not fighting for points, but on countback, it can change the order of the teams at this point, as I believe only 4 teams have scored points thus far in the season. 3 is quite a while behind now. Raikkonen is pulling ahead a little bit now that he has a bit less dirty air to worry about. We are falling into the clutches of Kvyat. But we've rounded the penultimate corner. We've done our 19-minute race. Lap 56 will be our final, a personal best for the race. So we round the final corner then. It is a pretty substantiated P13. Today we did it on race pace. We could have pushed a little bit further up had we not had that spin early on. That did affect our strategy and our pace at that part of the race. However, we can be happy with P13. We're starting to punch towards the area of point scoring positions, so we are going to be happy with that one. And Mercedes won 2 today, with Valtteri Bottas in first, Lewis Hamilton in second, and Sebastian Vettel in third.
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes. So let's review the updated drivers' standings. Our championship leader is still sat at the top of the standings, but their rivals have made up some solid ground today. After an incredible
So P13 then for us. Overall, a pretty good race. We managed to make it up from P18 to P13. That's a positive 5 positions, so good racecraft there. 2 stops for today. Standings-wise, we are currently, I believe, in P16. We look down. Only 10 drivers have scored points at this point. P15 then for us overall in the championship, and P19 then for Nick de Vries. So we are actually on par with, in the Constructors' Championships, still Racing Point, AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo Racing, Haas, and Williams, all with 0 points, including ourselves.
So that was an exciting race from our perspective. Let's have yours. You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you?
Our power advantage really came in handy.
You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled.
and I'm thrilled with the support during the race. I couldn't do this without a great team behind me.
It wasn't the cleanest race today, was it?
None of us want to be the one to back down. These things happen.
Great. Well, that's everything.
Alright then, so you can see our claim has finally made up to level 2 then. Our teammates' claim still at level 6, and our overall claim for our organization has gone up to level 3, which is a good boost for us there. Soon we'll be able to choose our third overall sponsor. We can see we approved or achieved our goal for Atlantic this week, achieving our 75 race laps, and we get a bonus 100,000. We do get some damage deductions from our spin, which gave us a front wing replacement. But currently we have 1.6 million in the bank, so we are going to go to our R&D tree now and target some developments moving forward to the Vietnamese Grand Prix. We are going to target durability. It's just about what we have left. And we're going to quickly allocate our focuses leading up to the next Grand Prix weekend. So we are going to go for a power team building, I believe. And then after that, we're going to switch to power department focus and vehicle PR filming, which will help us boost our team's acclaim, get a bit more cash flow in. It may damage the department morales a little bit, but other than that, not too much happening. And our last little treat, we have, of course, added the Atlantic sponsor to the car, and we have brought in a new livery, which should pop a little bit more on track. So, with all that being said, I've been LCM the Butler. Thank you so much for joining us in today's episode of Reset the Track. This is streamed, recorded live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Australian Western Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the US. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, do what you want. And as always, have a good day.